Call this meeting to order, special meeting of the Hyde Park Central School District Board of Ed on September 10th, 2018. Can I have a motion for executive session to discuss confidential employment matters?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? We're in the executive session. Okay, we're back to open session. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. There is no agenda modifications, so can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, we're on board discussion, and we're discussing the environmental hygiene report from the North Park Elementary.
Yeah. So good evening. We've had our air tested several times in the last week, and posted on our website is the most updated report. And our certified mold assessment specialist couldn't be here tonight, but he has reported that all of the remediation efforts are demonstrating the trajectory is going absolutely in the right direction, and that in some instances where there's some variation of an increase, there was one or two rooms that demonstrated an increase in air quality samples, that is typical, that they're within a typical range. You could test a room twice in one day, and the results could vary greatly even on a given day, depending on, as you look at a weather report, the humidity and dew point levels. So he has found and reported that we are headed in the right direction, that we should continue all of our current remediation efforts, and that we will continue to collect air samples. I wanted to update the board. This is our first opportunity to update on what has been currently done. All of the rooms now have dehumidifiers. All of the recommendations from our certified mold assessor to the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, all recommend cleaning and dehumidification. So there are dehumidifiers now deployed in every single classroom. There are also hallway units of dehumidifiers, large ones. We have HEPA filters with the UV lighting to scrub the air. That was also a recommendation, to have the air scrubbed and clean the air. Over the course of this weekend, we had LSC, a cleaning company, come in and scrub every inch and every single piece of furniture within the building. So that took place all weekend long. We removed 12 wooden art carts that were original to the building. They're just not good to have in an environment that has a humidity problem. So again, all of our, I'll have Elliot come up too, and we'll walk you through. All of the recommendations have indicated that the remedy is to remove the mold. For those that were here with our certified special mold assessor, he said, basically, your policy has to be zero tolerance. If you see it, remove it immediately and clean it, and we're going to continue our air testing.
Good evening. So, just to expand on that, I guess it was LCS to clarify the
LCS,
agency.
what I say, LSC?
That's okay. LCS their services were retained to provide additional cleaning per Mr. Calandria's recommendation in report number 017/1819. So the recommendations were as follows. He wanted us to clean all surfaces and all furniture, to use the HEPA scrubbers for the air, to use the dehumidifiers, and remove any fixtures or furniture that could be adding to mold growth. The units that were removed from the classrooms are just very challenging to clean. They don't come apart very easily. When people say they don't build them like they used to, that's pretty accurate. These furniture pieces were pretty sturdy. They have shallow drawers that make it very difficult to reach inside of, and the drawers don't come all the way out. They don't open up in a way that would make it feasible to clean them thoroughly. And so those were removed from the building over the weekend. We had over 20 people in the building on any given point this weekend doing that work. Multiple supervisors from the agency and from our own district to provide guidance and direction. And wound up going into over 30 rooms. Our staff also did office spaces, restrooms. We kind of went into every part of the building we could. And I think that's pretty much it as far as the efforts that were made. We have just today received the balance of dehumidifiers that went into the classrooms. They were being installed up until an hour ago. So if there's any that need, extension cords or hose extensions, we'll be putting those in the next couple of days. But the units were furnished for every space in the building. So that'll make a difference. It's important to note that with the equipment operating as intended, we were able to maintain a relative humidity level in that building at or around 50% this weekend. So while we were cleaning the building, we were able to keep the humidity out largely and manage the humidity while the process was continuing, which, as we've consulted not just LCS but other remediation companies as to what the most important matters of practice are for resolving a situation like this. And step one is find the mold visually, remove it physically, and then control the moisture and the relative humidity in the air to prevent any spores from growing on any surfaces in the building. So that's been our guiding, those have been our guiding principles as we've gone through the weekend. Anybody have any questions about what was done?
Yeah, Elliot, I just have one question. There was, so good to get rid of desks that couldn't be cleaned or the art carts. There was a question brought up about some desks that had, the way that I understood it was maybe the substrate of the desk was a particle board or something like that was difficult to clean. Did we look at those, and have we been able to clean those properly?
We did. A number of the desks that were identified were actually teachers' desks, or other fixtures that had some sort of, I don't want to misspeak, but it was sort of like a fabric shelf paper type of a material lining either the inside of the units or inside of the drawers. That was removed and cleaned as well by the staff over the weekend. We emptied out as many fixtures as we could. I mean, some of these units took like 3 people a half an hour to get everything out of them, to get in there and scrub them down and clean them. So we really tried to look for all the places that airflow doesn't usually get into, anything with doors, anything with lids, and really take our time to open up these materials. Any materials that were found to have visible mold growth were discarded. We didn't always have the opportunity. I apologize for the staff members that are here. If some of your things disappeared across the weekend, they were given very specific directives. If there's any suspected growth on anything that's encountered, it is to be cleaned or discarded. So fabric, paper, cardboard, things like that we couldn't clean, they went out as well.
Okay. Were you planning on speaking specifically to the air sampling results? If not, I'm willing to. My comment is I'm looking at the samples from the September 6th sample date, and again, not to put too much on the air sampling results, but in this group of samples that I'm looking at, everything came in lower than the control. Whenever you do air sampling, you take one on the outside of the building as well. Everything on the inside of the building is better than the outside of the building. So you had more potential of running into mold walking from your car to the building than you did in the building itself. So
Seems to be where the numbers are.
it's a pretty good, I mean, that's what, that's where you want to be. I mean, that's as good as it gets. And in some cases, you had no detection at all, which is a really good place to be. So, because naturally, it's in the air. Yeah.
That's correct.
Any other? Public participation is not on the agenda. Can I have a motion to,
Wait, can I just
James?
ask one question? Ongoing tests, how many, what frequency, are we going to do any more?
We have testing scheduled for this week. With the weather patterns the way they are, it tends to skew readings. Our assessor is not available today and tomorrow. He is scheduled to come back and perform visual inspections on Wednesday. We have forwarded to him the scope of work and photographs of what was done over the weekend, and certainly use his reports as guidance throughout our process. We spoke to him just this morning to kind of recap where we are, and so we agreed that he would come back Wednesday for a visual inspection, and then Thursday, if conditions are conducive for accurate monitoring and testing, we will do that on Thursday.
And weekly thereafter.
And weekly thereafter, and if we need to adjust that frequency based on what we find, certainly we can do more, but at least on a weekly basis going forward, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr.
The
Duffy.
first sampling that was done after the first scrubbing, we were informed was going to take us a week to get the results back. We had discussions about, can we expedite that? What can we do to get the results back? Were we able to expedite, and how much quicker were we able to get the results back?
We did. We actually sent the samples themselves down to New Jersey by courier. We used our
Drove them
district
down.
courier. We drove them down directly, so that saves a day on the transmittal side. And then, because of the time of day of the second and third rounds of sampling, we sent those together the following morning. So again, that shaved another day off of the turnaround time. The sooner we get it physically to the lab, the sooner they can process. So when we can get down there before noontime, sometimes they can get them done that day, sometimes early the next morning, and then we get the results transmitted electronically. So we turned what could be a 4-day process into a 72-hour, or even, best case scenario, 48-hour window.
Okay.
any other questions? Okay, on the agenda, we did not have an open public participation. I should have brought that up when we talked about any agenda modifications. Is there any here that would like to open it up to public participation? If so, can I have a motion for it?
So move. I think-
Second.
All in favor? Okay, if anybody would like to address the board, please go to the microphone.
Just state their name.
Yes, state your name, and if possible, what school district, or school building you're in.
Okay.
I should open
Anyone?
public participation, shouldn't I? Okay, can I close, motion to close public participation? So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. At this time, there's no other matters deemed necessary before the board. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor? Motion, board is, meeting is over.